Something I forgot to mention in the last video. We're going to start on the assembly and corridor next, but I need you to take a look at the second profile. When we come down, typically we say we have a 2% cross slope at 10 feet. So that means it's 2% cross slope 10 feet out to this point here. So we need to set a PVI. Now, does it affect this one here? This goes down at 2% already, so I don't have to worry about that one, but I do have to put a PVI in this one. So I'm going to set a profile creation tools. Oops, not create. I need to modify that. So I click on it and right click and profile geometry, and I'm going to set a PVI, and then I'm going to look at the grid. So this is going to be, sometimes it doesn't click right. Oh, let go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that. Select it and pick it again. There we go. 2010, and this is going to be a negative 2%. All right, so close that out. Now we go down 2%, and then we're going to go down. It doesn't affect any of my other ones. No, that looks good, and that's still good. All right, just remember that. I completely forgot about it. Bad me. But whenever you're working with cross slopes, typically you keep the cross slope and then grade out. So if it was a 12-foot road, it would be 12 feet off the beginning of the alignment. All right. Now, since that one was already 2%, we don't have to adjust it. So now we're on to the assembly. So we are going to build our assembly. Now I'm going to call it Valencia College Drive. The reason I'm giving it a specific name, I'm going to say 10 feet. So that tells me it's 10 feet with a 50-foot right-of-way. Give it a description, because by the time you're done with really big subdivision projects, you'll have a bunch of assemblies. So this is what we're going to, and I'm going to give it a little more description. 10-foot lane, 50-foot right-of-way. All right. Now, I just pick a point. I'm going to pick one up here, and I'm going to turn on my tool palettes. So those should pop up. Go and bring this over here. So I'm going to go lanes, and we'll pull this out. So I'm going to lane Super AOR. I'm going to pick the point. Now, it's not the correct information on it. So if I escape out of that, and you have to escape after each one you create, you'll notice that this length of the lane is 12 feet. Well, I need it to be 10 feet. So I will be modifying these as I go along. The next thing I've got is a curb. So I'm going to click on the urban curb and gutter. And remember, it's the top codes that we're going to build by. And then I'm going to go to generic, and I'm going to do length, width, and slope. And then I'm going to do a basic generic pavement for my sidewalk. And now I'm going to do a generic length, width, and slope again. All right, to get me in, the right-of-way actually stops here, but this will get me into the grass area, so I don't have to do all the mathematical calculations. Before we started doing assemblies, I had to do all the calculations for the front lot grades based on the center line, and I don't want to do that anymore. That just takes time when the computer can do it for you, as long as you know how to manipulate the computer program. So the first thing I'm going to do is I click on the pavement section, and I'm going to say 10 feet. Whoops. Click over here, highlight it, 10 feet, so it shortens it up. I'm not going to change this. This is a little less than half a foot by 2 hundredths, maybe 3 hundredths. Now on this, it's going to be 8 feet, and it is 6%. This is why I've got my properties box open all the time. The next thing is my sidewalk. My sidewalk's going to be 5 feet, sorry. Now here's the important thing. See this shift width? That needs to be 0. If you don't, then it's actually going to be longer than 5 feet, and it's going to have a positive 2%. And the last one is going to be the piece of property. I'm going to do 50 feet. This is part of our front yard. and it is going to have a slope of 1%. Okay? Now, the next thing I need to do, so I've got my assembly set up. I want to make sure that I'm going from endpoint, that the length is proper to perpendicular. I like to double check this. If not, then it's possible I've screwed something up. If that doesn't say 25 feet from the back of sidewalk to the center line, make sure your assembly distances are correct. So I'm going to highlight everything, and up here is the mirror tool. So I'll click on that, and now I've got my assembly. The next thing that I've got to do is I'm going to close that out, is I'm going to set it onto my corridor. Now, I'm going to come up here. Well, I'm going to, just so I don't screw this up, I'm going to pause and start the next video with the corridor. So that's it for this video.